Welcome to Massive Beers. My name is Matt. We do the beer stuff here. Been a minute since I've done a Bell's. Oberon Eclipse. This be their citrus wheat ale. So it's I guess it's a dark wheat Weizenbach, I guess, version of Oberon. I actually dig on Oberon. I like it as a summer crusher. Haven't had it in a while, but I saw this on a shelf. I kind of wanted something relatively ripper level. So I figured I'd give it a whirl, give it a review. This was canned. Best by date of 19 May 24. We are at the 1st of March. So probably has a couple months on it. Let's see. Oberon Eclipse Citrus Wheat. 6.3% alcohol by volume. Orange Coriander Wheat Ale. Done and done. So let's see what's going on. It's been a very hot minute since I've done a Bell's, I think. I'm trying to think of the last Bell's I reviewed. It might have been I found a sixer of old their old ale floating around somewhere. Maybe that was the last one. I'll have to look into it. The label is it's Oberon, but dark. Just a little bit darker. Nothing too crazy. I'm not gonna sit here and say I love Bell's labels, but it's one of those things where they've made so many delicious beers that like the labels that I really like from Bell's is more so because the beer was delicious rather than the label being cool. Like Batch 9000 stuff like that. Very basic, but love that label because I love that beer. As far as that looks, I mean, looks the part of a darkish wheat beer. I kind of assumed, it was going to be more Weizenbach-y, quite a bit darker. Not that they can't be this color. It's somewhere in between what you typically see as a Weizenbach and something that is a bit of a wheat beer. So that rich kind of brown/orange combination with this kind of khaki colored head. It looks the part of beer. Hey, it looks like beer. Let's get a nose. Yeah, I mean, it really is just a lot of different citrus floating around in here. I think it's a combination of hops, dosed orange coriander kind of in there, and just the way the beer in general kind of comes off. It has that little bit beefier maltiness that you'd expect with something that looks a bit darker here, but it has this soft, rich, orange-based kind of wheat ale kind of thing going on, and that's pretty much it. There's nothing here as far as an aggressive sweetness or a precursor to a big bittering or hopping or anything like that. It is really just a meatier, beefier version of a classic kind of wheat ale. Something a bit more boisterous than what Oberon tends to come off for, at least for me. But it smells quite nice. I can get down with it so far. Let's dive in. Cheers, y'all. Okay. It actually has a decent bittering pop there. And the wheat comes through pretty heavily here. So, they talk about it being a orange coriander wheat beer. I'm curious what kind of wheat they're using to get it to this kind of density and richness. Like, is it like a double decocted wheat ale? Is it some kind of toasted, roasted kind of wheat? Something along those lines. What other kind of malts or whatever is in here? Because it definitely comes off a bit beefier than what you expect from a classic kind of wheat ale. There's a bit more heft to it, a bit, not roastiness, but more of a richness to the way the wheat kind of comes off in the beer. Not in a negative way, but through and through, it's definitely a wheat beer. That orange side of things, I think it's a combination of orange coriander, zestiness, in combination with hops, maybe even a little bit of some kind of spice kind of added. I don't know, but it feels like the orange here is a little bit more outside of hop realm than actually in hop realm, but it's not too far gone to where it's not like vitamin powder-esque kind of stuff that you used to get from like Ballast Point and stuff like that. Beautiful mouthfeel. It's weird. It's a weird beer for me because it tastes like a really beefy, well-done wheat beer. I like the way the orange is showing. There is that little pop of bittering. I can kind of dig on that. There's something about it that's off for me. I don't know what it is. And I don't know if it's a combination of the darker wheat that's not necessarily getting all up into that Weizenbach level, or it's the way the orange is kind of playing off that richer, darker wheat ale base. There's something about it comes off a little bit disjointed. It's not a negative beer. I'm not going to be like, hey, I don't like this beer. But I expected something a little bit different. And maybe that's my fault more than anything else. I'm expecting something. But when you're looking at like a darkerish kind of wheat beer, I just expect a little bit of a different turn on it. And this is meeting somewhere kind of in the middle. Everything in here is in the middle. If you take like a classic Weizenbach and then you take a kind of base kind of wheat beer, and then this is neither of those, but it's somewhere in the middle, and maybe that is the personality difference. That's kind of throwing me off a little bit. Again, not a negative beer, but at the same time, I bought a sixer. I'm fine with it. It'll get drank, shared. I don't know if it's a secondary buy from here, or second time buy. I should put it that way. Yeah, not a bad beer branding stretch. Fun riff, fun cut from Bell's on it, but at the same time, just leave me a little bit wanting. Leave me wanting a little bit something more from it, a little bit more personality, rather than falling in the middle of those two styles that I assume it's kind of shooting for. And we're done and done. That's it. I mean, wheat is represented well. There's a nice orange to it. The mouth feels very nice. Pop of bittering. Nothing too crazy, though. It has all the building blocks of something that can be quite tasty, because there's nothing negative here. Just the mixture seems off for me. Sometimes that happens. Some people like cucumbers pickled. So there you go. Bell's Oberon Eclipse is one of the better wheat beers I've had as late. Not really. Value and availability. It's Bell's. It's a sixer. Cans are probably right around like $12, I'm assuming, and leave you with, if you like what we like this, if you like Weizenbachs, if you like wheat beers, but you want something right dead set in the middle, and you're okay with a bit of that orange, outside of the just naturally derived from hops kind of orange, and you'll dig on this. There you go. Review in the books. Hopefully you enjoyed. Bell's, have you been to the brewery? If you had their beers, have you had this beer? I'm curious to y'all's thoughts on this beer. What's your favorite Bell's beer? I think mine is Batch 9000, actually, that I talked about in the open. Hopefully you enjoyed the review. Hopefully you enjoyed a little bit of Oberon right now. Eclipse or otherwise. Hope we'll see you next time. Cheers, y'all.